we're live.
Sounds good.
How you doing today, Drew?
I'm doing awesome. I've had a great morning so far.
Awesome. So I know that you're obviously big into fitness. What does your mornings consist of? I follow you on social media, and so you're always working out. You're always doing something. What does your mornings look like?
So first thing in the morning, I grab my Bible usually, and I start off with reading a verse, which puts me in the right mindset. I think every morning we all struggle to get up and do the things that are a little bit difficult perhaps. And I have to be honest, working out is difficult.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah. So getting in the right mindset for me, and then also making sure that I'm getting a little bit of food before I hit the gym. I started off in the beginning of my journey with fasted cardio and fasted training, which I'm looking back now, and it definitely hurt my gains. So I'm making sure that I'm getting a good breakfast in. And honestly, I try not to look at my shoes more than 10 to 15 minutes, because if I do, I'll be sitting in bed looking at them a lot longer. But I just get up and I go. I go right away to Planet Fitness, and as soon as I get that workout in, it's a different game from there on out for the rest of that day.
That's awesome. And so you said how long have you been doing this? How long have you been on the fitness journey? When did this process start for you?
Sure. So I started in December of 2021 with Fit Society. That's the shirt that I have on right now.
Okay.
His name is Tommy Andradas. He's my trainer, and he's out of Hazlitt. But we started off with one session a week, and it was about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And then I slowly started working in probably 2 sessions a week, maybe 3-4 months into that. And now I'm up to 5 to 6 days a week of training.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you went from doing nothing, right?
Absolutely nothing. I was 200 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. COVID, it was hard for me. I went into a severe depression, started eating a lot, didn't exercise, and I got up to 200 pounds. And for me, as a Division I athlete, I didn't like the way that I looked in the mirror. So I knew that I had to do something, and it was time to do it. So yeah, December 2021.
What was that process like? Like, I mean, I could imagine that when you start a journey like that, it's got to feel so overwhelming and difficult, and just like, because I know, like, if I allow myself to get out of shape and then I like start doing it again, I'm like, ugh, like I just feel like heavy and like just so out of shape. I just don't feel like I can do it. What was that like?
So I have to be honest, there's the intimidation factor, right? Not wanting to do it, thinking that you're not going to be able to accomplish it, failing. We all go through those things. I started off with doing small goal setting and then achieving those. I first started off with actually walking around the pond once at a park. And then it turned into 2 laps around the pond. And then it turned into 3. And then it was like, hey, we're going to jog 1, we're going to walk 2. And then it was jog 2, walk 1. And eventually I started feeling myself feeling better, just weight started shedding off of me. My mind was in the right place. My heart was in the right place. I wanted more. And that's when I took the next step to contact a personal trainer and say, hey, I need some accountability, not just walking in the park, and let's set up at least once a week. And that's, I guess, where people have a hard time and struggle with making that transition from doing absolutely nothing to just getting up and doing something. And for me, it was 1 lap around the pond, and then, growth from there on out.
Well, and that's how a lot of growth starts, is you start by just doing a mile, or you start by just walking, or you start just by doing something.
Sure.
And then it just it grows from there. Like, just recently I started running again, probably a month or 2 ago. And it's difficult. Like when you don't run for a while and then you start running again, it's like, oh my gosh, like I am so out of running shape.
Yes.
And I was doing the elliptical every morning, but and so thankfully my cardio was there and I was able to like push my way through it.
Right.
But had I not done that, it would have been a lot more difficult. So like when you start a process like that, you're like, man, this is so hard. But then through like, I don't know, like a week or 2, like you eventually start seeing like, okay, this is getting easier.
A little bit easier.
And now I need to train for something. Now I need to go further. And so then you start goal setting from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I didn't have the goal of doing a bikini competition right away, of course. That was not even in my mindset. And then when somebody actually put it into a possibility for me, that's when I was like, oh, you think I could do that? Because I did not see I'm coming from a 200-pound person who's sitting on the couch every day, waking up, can't wait to eat sweets and treats, to getting up and eating egg whites and in oatmeal, to getting to the gym before 9 o'clock. So I encourage everybody to try and take that one little step, that small step to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that you mentioned that I thought was really cool is you said, I try not to look at my shoes for more than 10 to 15 minutes. That's that David Goggins mentality. I know you're a big David Goggins fan.
I love him.
I love David Goggins too. And so I often think like whenever I don't want to do something, like he's just like in my head yelling at me, get after it, bitch.
Yes, 100%. I was just going to say that. Well, when you were talking about the morning thing, and yes, of course, I love the Bible as my go-to, but there's also a hard side of me. I have to be realistic here too. So I love that, you know, in your face, nitty gritty type of coaching. And that's all David Goggins style. And not only that, but the underdog coming up and winning and improving and making, you know, achieving goals. Those things to me are huge. David Goggins was 300 pounds, overweight, you know, spraying for cockroaches. And there was a part of my life where I felt worthless, abandoned. I didn't love myself. And I listened to David Goggins, and it was like, we're going to do something here. I'm capable of it.
Is that what motivated you?
No, you know, it's not. And I don't like the word motivation because David Goggins will say this. It comes and it goes, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I meant, is that what like inspired you to want to do something?
No, I was at rock bottom and I was suicidal, to be honest. So when I hit that point, I didn't want to live like that anymore. I got down on my knees and I asked God, help me. I cannot do this anymore. I was trying to do it on my own every single day and failing and failing and failing. And it's like, this isn't working, Drew. You've got to find something different.
What did you think you were failing at?
You know, a lot of things. My relationships, I was hurting people left and right. I had abused alcohol and drugs in the past. There were so many things that I was ashamed and guilty of that I would needed to go back and, you know, ask for forgiveness for those people and to God. And now it's a different life. It's a different chapter. I've gotten that forgiveness. I even saw somebody at the gym the other day that I've been needing to apologize for about 2 decades. And I walked by and I kept saying like, hey, do you see me? Maybe you'll see me and notice me and we can conversate. But I was nervous. I needed to apologize to that person. So I went through my workouts. I was probably 45, 50 minutes in. And I was like, Drew, you've got to go do this. You've got to go do it. And I'll tell you what, I went up to, it was a mom and a dad of a kid I went to high school with at Okemos. And I went over to them and they recognized me after. I was like, do you know who this is? And they were like, oh my gosh, yes. But I told them my story and where I came from and how I was sorry. And I was met with open arms, with love and gratitude. And it's just those small little things that you can do throughout your day that impact other people too. So not only am I on this fitness journey, but I'm in this journey of healing, restoring myself and healing and restoring some of my relationships too, because I hurt some people in the past when I was drinking and using drugs that I've got a lot of apologies to make up, and I'll probably be doing it for the rest of my life, but that's all right.
Well, and I think if somebody can look at your life now and they see the change that you've made, they see the positive change that you've made in your life, and they're like, oh, okay, she's actually living what she's saying.
Yeah.
And that's so important.
It is, because, you know, my dad used to say, do as I say, not as I do. And it's like, Dad, you can't live by that. So it's important. And my grandpa used to say, you know, show me, don't tell me. So we have 2 different perspectives here. And I live by the show me, don't tell me, because it's important to speak the truth and live out the truth that you have spoken. So I'm doing that right now, one day at a time.
Yeah, that's important. How long have you always been religious?
So, you know, I was baptized Catholic when I was young, very young. We went to a Catholic school. We went to St. Martha's for a year while we were waiting to get into Okemos High School choice. And then we lost our connection with God, I would say. My family did. We were kind of the Creasters, the Christmas and Easters, right?
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so we were Creasters. We did the typical...
Are you going this Easter?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But we would do the Christmas and Easter, and we weren't really heavily dedicated to God and his word and the Bible and Bible teaching. It wasn't until I went into work out in Williamson for Top Flight Financial that I came across Tim and Tracy Bays. And they were the ones that introduced me and really got my heart on fire for the Lord. They were hosting Bible study inside of Top Flight Financial, not in the workplace, but before work hours. And then they've also taken over Homeless Angels, which is a nonprofit shelter for the homeless. And
that's the one that Mike Carl was a part of, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yes. Yeah. And then
he works at GM too.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So we had a great relationship with the Bays, as they were the ones that started me on my relationship with Christ. And then I will say that I got into Mount Hope Church over on Christ Road. The church with all the flags is what everybody knows it as. And as soon as I went in there, I felt like it was home, and I really haven't looked back since then. So it's been, I would say, 10 to 15 years since I've really dug in to have a relationship with Christ. But more importantly, 4 years sober, and that last 4 years of my life is where I've kind of transitioned. And the health and the working out in the gym has also added an aspect of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, something happens like when you decide that you want to change your life and make it better, and you want to just start focusing on yourself and making yourself just a better person all the way around. People tend to not like that. You know, like if you were somebody they would hang around when you went to the bar together, like you'd go to the bar together, or you do drugs together, or you just were being mediocre with these people, and then they start seeing you do all these things, they don't like that.
Yeah.
Did you experience any of that?
So I will say that I've had some silent haters, and then there's a couple of ones that like to, put it on the front of the newspaper. I try to use it as fuel for my fire, because I'm one of those people that tell me I can't do something, and I'm going to show you that I can.
Yeah.
It's not that I have a chip on my shoulder, because I don't, but I have something to prove, and I'm out here to prove it now. Yeah. But the haters, I take them with pride, because they've made me who I am too. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here where I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's something that I've had to experience too. Even just by doing like the podcast, I spend so much time doing it, and so like a lot of people like don't like that, because they're like, I would spend more time with them, and they just kind of fell aside. They're not doing anything significant with their life. They're not working out. They're not chasing goals and dreams, and so yeah, it's something that just happens.
Yeah, I will say my family, and I have got a large group of friends that have been super supportive. Of course, my online followers and stuff too, that have continually pushed me. Even when I'm down, I'll post something like I'm not having a great day, and they're like, "You got this. You're gonna get back on track." There's a lot more of the positive than there is the negative. Unfortunately, the negative seems to stick out sometimes a little bit harder and further.
Always does.
But my family has been awesome. My friends have been awesome. And I've also told them, hey, I'm going to be a little bit selfish right now. I'm working on a goal that is a selfish goal. With the Bikini Competition, it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of requirements, and a lot of dedication. It's nothing personal to you guys. I'm just trying to heal myself fully too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need those things. You need accomplishments, and especially if you're in the fitness realm, like you need something to train for. You need like a goal and something to look forward to, something to like keep your focus going.
Absolutely. Well, my trainer actually was one that he said that too. He's like, Drew, you're doing really good, but like, what's the ultimate goal here? And I was like, goal? What are you talking about? He's like, no, what's your goal? And I still was like, I didn't have a goal. I think it took me 7 to 8 months to get a goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were just working out aimlessly, like just
training, wanting to lose weight. And at first, I will admit that I was going for skinny.
Okay.
We're no longer going for skinny. We're going for strong. So we've switched modes here. We're no longer in calorie deficit. We're just shooting for gains.
That's awesome. So training for the bikini competition, what does that look like? Like, are you eating a certain diet? What kind of workouts are you doing?
So right now I'm focusing hard on my glutes and my delts, just because that's where I need to grow personally for my body. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
But in bikini specifically, the shoulders and the glutes are a huge judging point. They're not where they need to be for me personally. So I'm doing 3 days of legs, 2 days of shoulders, and 2 days of rest right now. My macros are currently adjusted. I just started about a week ago with my macros, and
Can you explain macros to me? Because we're gonna like dumb it down right now.
Sure, I'll do my best.
So I'm into fitness and I'm into health, but I honestly don't know much about macros. And so I was actually talking to my friend. He's been on this podcast a few times. He's a trainer, and I'm like, can you explain macros to me? Like, I want to like start focusing on that.
Yes.
Can you explain that to me?
I'll do my best, but I've also brought on some people to help me with my macros.
How do you figure out what your macros are?
So you have to look at your fats, your proteins, and your carbs. Those are your 3 categories for your macros. You need to, depends on what your goals are. If you're striving for muscle gains, you want to have your protein at a certain percentage. If you're striving for weight loss, you want to have, your macros, your proteins, your fats, and your carbs at a certain percentage for each. Right now I'm at macros that my protein is at like 150 grams. So it's 1 gram per weight of body weight. I'm at 150 pounds.
I'm gonna write this down. Hold on.
Sure. No problem. And this is, I think everybody will be individually specific for what their goals are.
So if you're wanting to put muscle on, should you be at 1 gram of protein per body weight?
1 to 1.5.
1 to 1.5.
And I'm not a dietitian, so please.
You're good.
Yeah,
I'll research it. Because that's something I want to do. I want to get leaner, but I don't want to lose muscle. I want to be strong.
Right. So you want to have the 1 to 1.5 grams of your protein per body weight. Now, right now, my proteins, or not my proteins, my fat and my carbs are at, I want to say 50 grams.
You brought your folder?
I did.
You were prepared.
Oh, okay. So I fibbed. My carbs are at 179 grams, and my fat is at 49. So, like a 1/3 of your body weight should be dedicated to your fats. And then right now for what I'm going, carbs, because carbs are what your body uses as energy fuel for your muscles.
Right.
So I, at first, was eating way too much protein, not enough carbs, and not enough fat. I was really lean, but not bulking, right? Not gaining much muscle. Until we added the fats and the carbs in there, that's where I'm starting to see the full round muscles that just look healthy. They don't look depleted and they don't look flat.
Right.
So my best explanation of it is you have to have a good amount of fats. You have to have especially a good amount of carbs if you're lifting heavy. And then you want to keep your protein up higher. Beyond that, I don't know much about macros. I was just told what to eat, and that's what I'm eating. That's
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's not something that I've necessarily studied. And, I eat healthy for the most part. Like I eat a lot of red meat, but I'm going to switch over to a lot of chicken and possibly fish. I'm not a huge fish person, but I want to kind of change up my diet a little bit. But I eat healthy for the most part. I eat a lot of eggs, and I typically fast every day.
Which is good too.
Intermittent fasting. Mm-hmm. So I don't eat till 11 o'clock every day. And
I can't say that.
But I also
find me with my peanut butter jar.
I work out fasted too, which I find great benefits in. I run and do body weight stuff, but.
I was doing that big time, especially when I was trying to lose the fat, right? I mean, that's, if you want to target fat, do fasted cardio.
Yeah.
You're going to burn a lot of calories though, too, which is your source for your muscle gaining as well. So just be careful and conscious of that. One thing I did notice is that when you work out, when you're lifting weights, I should say, and training to lift weights, your body's going to be in repair mode for 24 hours to 48 hours after that.
Yeah.
When you're running or doing high intensity cardio, you're only going to be burning that amount for that amount of time, right? Once you're done, you're done. Your body's not going to go into repair mode after that like it does with weight training.
Right.
So if you want to burn more calories, you want to lose fat, the best way to go about it is to weight train. It's not to get on a treadmill and run 10 miles.
That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
Start lifting heavy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Eat good carbs, good fats, good proteins. And by that, I mean nuts and berries and fruit and vegetables. And you mentioned not eating a lot of red meat. Right now, I'm not on any red meat at all. So I'm pescatarian and pretty much all bird. So chicken, eggs, and fish. And it seems my body seems to thrive on it.
And how do you cook it? Do you just grill it up, or how do you cook?
So I'm in an apartment. I wish. I put it in the oven. I bake it, or I do it on George Foreman grill. Those are kind of my two ways. And then I saute my vegetables, and I usually hard boil my eggs, to be honest.
Okay.
Just because it's an easy grab and go
snack,
which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's something that I think I need to focus more on, because like I said, I eat healthy, but I don't have a diet. I don't adhere to any sort of diet typically.
Yeah. Well, you look great, and I'll say that I felt that way, and that's how I was eating, and then I just have slightly changed my macros here in the last week. And it's crazy what our body is science,
Yeah,
I think our diet is science.
Well, and I was telling my wife the other day, because I eat healthy, but like I said, I don't eat till 11 o'clock every day. But I typically eat like I'll grill up a flank steak and I'll cook up 3 eggs, and that's my lunch every day. But then at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I kind of get this crash. I just feel just heavy, and I'm like, why do I feel this way? I should feel good.
Right.
But I feel like crap.
You don't have enough fats and carbs in that meal. It's a lot of protein, right? So you got meat
and
eggs. You have a little bit of fat in those eggs.
Well, I eat pork rinds too.
Okay,
right after.
Well, that works. A little bit of salt, a little bit of carbs. That's good.
Yeah, it has quite a bit of carbohydrates in it.
Yeah.
But
And sodium's good too for you. You need sodium to keep that water in your muscles.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean that's part of my diet, but yeah, I just feel like crap afterwards. I don't know.
I don't really have an explanation for that. Like I said, I'm not a dietitian. Maybe stop eating so much steak. I don't know.
Then that's my goal. I plan on eating like more chicken and possibly more fish. I'm not a huge fish person, but I need to learn how to like cook it, a little bit better.
Tinfoil with the fish, lots of oil, lemons, and seasoning. There's nothing wrong with extra seasoning on stuff, especially when I'm eating the same meal over and over. I try not to cook more than 2 days in a row because I like to eat fresh.
Right.
But I will season the crap out of everything just because it tastes better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Either hot sauce or seasoning.
Yeah, you don't want to get too crazy and just be like salt and pepper is all I use.
Yeah, there's no way. I've got a whole couple shelves and some like good seasoning stores. There's nothing like, I don't know. You can't beat a good seasoning store. Traverse City's got a couple places. Saugatuck has some really good places. Go to Holland, they've got good seasoning stores too. So I'd like to find a good seasoning store and kind of buy them out.
Yeah, absolutely. So when is this competition, this bikini, is it a competition?
It is a competition.
Okay.
They call it a bikini competition.
Okay.
So originally, when you set your own goals, you have a plan and you set out to do something, you still want to seek counsel. It's like the Bible tells you all the time, seek counsel, seek advice. So I've gone to a couple of trusted people and asked them, this is my package. What do you think? And I wanted to do a show in June. I was dead.
This is your package?
Yeah, they could call it presenting your package.
Is that your body?
Yes. I know, it's pretty bad, right? It doesn't sound appropriate. But so when I went to these people, I asked them like, June, let's do June. And they looked at me like, Drew, you're natural. You're not ready yet. And you're not going to be in a show in June. So
This June.
Ooh, yeah.
Challenge accepted.
Well, so going back to seeking the advice and the counsel, I'm not opposed to taking somebody that I respect and I trust, their opinion, and putting it to use. So I'm not going to rush it, because if I rush it and I go out on stage and I don't do well, I've put in 2 years of my time and my efforts and my work. I think it would be very damaging to me mentally to do that. So I'm going to take the advice that I was given. I'm going to work a little bit harder. I'm going to put in more time. I'm going to add a couple, probably 8 to 12 weeks onto my prep time. And then we're going to do a show probably in September, October.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's gotten pushed back, but it's okay. It's going to be a better package.
So when you come to them with your package, what kind of things are they looking for?
So posing.
And that's what you were doing today?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I had some posing coaching today at 10 a.m. It went awesome, but it was my first posing session. There was only 3 other girls there. One of the 3 had done competitions before. The other 2 had not. So I felt like I was kind of in the right place, right? There's some other people that are new to this as well. But it is posing, it's confidence, walking on stage, having that charisma, having the looks, having the skin. Your skin needs to be clear and complexion needs to be good. And then symmetry. They want to see symmetry throughout your body. So shoulders match the waistline, which match the legs, which match the calves. So the whole body needs to fit to itself, I guess. You don't want to have really big legs and a small upper body, really big upper body and small legs.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love when people are just jacked.
On one spot.
Yeah, their upper body specifically, and then their legs are just like...
Well, you see a lot of guys wearing pants in the gym, and I believe that's for a reason. So women train legs more than guys. I see it all the time. I mean, I see women on squat racks and doing hip thrusts all of the time.
I do legs all the time. Like
nice to hear.
I have thick legs though. Yeah. Like a lot of it is like just genetic.
Yes.
And so I show them off. Like I wear shorts to work. Guys hate me. I'm sure the women like it.
Yes, we do. Guys will be jealous because it's hard. I was talking to somebody today about one of the girls mentioned, and genetics, I've got great calves. And I told her, I don't even want to say this, but like I don't even train calves. Like that's just genetics. I hate to say it, but it is. And I was talking to somebody and he's like, calves are the hardest thing for me to grow. And as soon as I stopped working on them, they deflated. They just went away. So I know that everybody loves a nice set of legs.
Absolutely.
It's important. It's your foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need to have strong legs. Absolutely need to.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. One day I was wearing shorts and everybody makes fun of it. Like they all make fun of me wearing shorts. I'm like, guys, your legs don't look like this. So
Pasty white thighs, maybe what they're making fun of.
maybe, but I'm not. They're not that. I mean, I'm Honduran, so they're not like that.
Yeah, they
pasty.
can't be that bad.
They're not that bad. Yeah. So they're looking for symmetry essentially, and is there like measurements or anything like that?
So we divide up. There's different classes. You've got bikini, you've got physique, you've got wellness, and you've got bodybuilding. There's a couple different categories that you can go into. Bikini being the least muscular of all.
Okay.
They don't want striations. They don't want super defined lines. It's more plump, round, and full, which is pretty, right? And it's feminine. Some of those other categories, you start to see more muscle striations, bigger definition, and the outfits change as well. So bikinis will change into different types of bikinis and styles and not showing so much of the glutes like the bikini does. But they go based on height and then they base on age as well. So I'm actually really tall for the sport. Most of the women are smaller, and in bodybuilding in general, most people are smaller. So I will be in class C or D, I believe, is what like 5'9" and up will be.
Okay.
And then also by age, which I'm struggling with this, but it's okay. I pray about it. I am 34 years old, and the cutoff is at 35.
Whoa.
So I'll be judged with all the youngins who are really tight and firm. And then if I was to do a show next year, then I would be judged for 35 to a certain category, and then they do 55 and up.
Oh, okay.
So we do get separated a little bit, but at the end, you still have it all around best in show too.
So what happens if you win? What do you receive anything?
So depends on which federation you're going to go in, and then if you're at a regional show, if you're at a national show, so you get a pro card, and then once you win your pro card is when you can go to the national and compete nationally. But some places have winnings, $1,500 maybe, yeah, which is decent.
Yeah.
But I will tell you the cost of all of this is very expensive.
Absolutely, especially eating. That's probably got to be the greatest
biggest
cost.
expense. I'm going to the grocery store like every 2 days, and it's like another $100, another $100.
Yeah.
And the protein supplements, the micros, the vitamins, all of those things. And then on top of it, you have posing coaches, you have training coaches, and then you've got dietitians too. So, there's quite a few people that need to be involved. It is a team effort. It is not just me.
Right. So why did you choose this out of all things?
I was told that I'm genetically built for the sport.
So you're like, yeah, let's go.
Let's go with it. No, I just, I was looking back through my phone, even like 10, 15 years ago, I had pictures of women that were in bikini competitions. It's obviously been a goal of mine, something I didn't really attack until maybe the last year or so. But I think that they're beautiful. I think that they represent women well. They're strong, they're feminine, and they're dedicated, obviously, which is just great characteristics of a human.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. When you see somebody who puts that much effort into their body, you're like, oh, okay, that's a person that respects themselves.
100%. Well, and I'll tell you, this is a roller coaster. You have to have your mind in place. There's no way that you can show up and get on stage if you don't have it together here, and in the body.
Right.
It's a mental game just as much as it is a physical.
You could put all the work in the gym, but yeah, you have to have some sort of balance with that too, right? Like, yoga or meditation.
I love the hot yoga. I've been going to hot yoga probably 2 to 3 times a week.
You go to East Lansing? That's the best.
I know.
I love that place.
Yeah, best classes, best instructors.
Yep.
So
I love that place.
And it helps with my flexibility, my hip mobility for all of my training and stuff. And it just keeps me fresh and the mindset to come back at the end of the day and put all of my issues aside and just meditate for an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah. I remember the first time I went to East Lansing Hot Yoga, I was laying there. It was a guy instructor. I don't even know who it was. But at the end of the yoga session, he's like kind of guiding us through this meditation. And I'm like laying there exhausted, covered in sweat.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't remember what he was saying, but I just started having like these visuals of being like laying on a beach. And I could hear waves crashing and
totally different mindset.
I felt like I was hallucinating. Like I felt like I was like having this like weird experience.
Out-of-body experience. Yeah.
And then I came back to it and I was like, oh man, I want to go back.
They're kicking you out now. Time for the next class. And the people there are awesome. They're loving, they're accepting. My favorite instructor over there is Mike Richter. He was a former teacher at, I think it was Waverly or Eastern. I think it was Eastern. but most of his classes are, I would say, extremely challenging, sometimes even more challenging than some of my workouts.
Yeah, they're hard.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a kick your asana class.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
the
like,
worst.
ooh-wee. So a 90-minute class of that. And I've got on a scale and I've lost 4 pounds of water weight from one class before.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe
It's like,
that.
oh my gosh. But mindset wise, it puts you back in a place where you showed up, you gave it your efforts, you came there, you meditated, you practiced with other people, you shared your practice, and I never leave that place feeling worse than when I came in.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you go in there not wanting to do it.
Oh, that's almost every day at the gym and at yoga. It's not because I'm like super excited. I've made a choice, set a goal, and I'm dedicated to it. I've got drive. Nobody's gonna stop me now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. That's so cool.
Thanks.
So what do you think you'll do after this bikini challenge?
I've been talking a lot about it, and I just had so many people reach out and ask me, like, how do I get started? What can I do? Can you share this with me? And I would love to help some other people. I would love to get certified, and start helping other people just achieve what they didn't think they could achieve.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you're the perfect person. I mean, you have the perfect story. You're a lot heavier. You were able to conquer that, defeat all those inner battles.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you're here now. You're fit. You will accomplish something that you're training for, and I think you have the perfect story to help somebody.
Thank you, and I hope so. That's one of the main reasons I came out here today is to be able to help others, and to see if there's anybody else out there that feels the way that I did, because it just takes one little step in the right direction, and then the next decision gets easier, and then the next decision gets easier after that. So
I mean, there's so many people that will listen to this and be like, "Yeah, I'm definitely that person," or I understand those inner battles, or I understand like being that person. I mean, there's so many people that have, like, I've had people on, with similar stories that were fat and then they just started running and they shed all this weight and then now they're fit, and so many people resonate with that.
Yes.
And because it's like a hero story, right? Like people are like, wow, like it's possible. Like that is me, and I need to get to where they're at right now.
Sure. Well, and like I said, the underdog, right? We all cheer for the underdog.
Yeah.
It's like everybody wants to see the person that doesn't look like they're going to make it and pull through and come through. There's no greater blessing than seeing somebody who's at rock bottom come back and, climb that mountain.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of climbing still, but I feel like it's Mount Everest. We're going to get to the top, I promise. But, I love what I'm doing. I can't sit here and say I dread it, because I don't. I feel good about it. I feel healthy. I have more energy throughout the day. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm here to help others and to also let people know that this was all achieved through God, really. Just knowing that through him, I am saved and I'm redeemed, and I don't have to be shamed of what I've done, and that I can go out every day and better myself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. When does your day start? What time? What time do you wake up?
It usually fluctuates, but I set my alarm around 4:30 to 5 in the morning.
Okay.
And I'm in bed by 8 p.m., 9. I'm a grandma. So
I'm a grandpa then, because like I go to bed at like 8:30, definitely by 9.
Yeah.
If I'm not in bed by 9, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow.
And the only reason I would say sometimes that I stay up a little bit later is if I've done a late night exercise, my circadian rhythm gets thrown off a little bit, because my body doesn't want to shut down yet. It's like, you just pushed me so hard. My heart rate was up to 150, and we're not cooling down yet. So, yeah, there's some times I catch myself and I'm like, it's 2 a.m. I have to be up in like 4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is awful. So, I've been self-conscious a little bit about choosing my times for workouts too. That's why I like to get it done in the morning so that I'm able to shut down at night.
Right. Yeah, and it kind of sets the tone for the day too.
100%.
Yeah.
You feel good.
You feel great.
And if you had any anger in the morning, which I struggle with my anger still, you get it out, right? You just push weights, push heavier weights, and then you're like, I'm so sorry, I wouldn't even want to punch you if I could.
I think like working out in the morning, it helps like set the mind for the day. It calms everything, like all the angst. Like it's interesting because I either run or I do the elliptical typically every morning.
Okay.
I either do one or the other. And some days I'll sleep in, and that's very rare.
Day.
It's a rest day. I still do it though, but I'll do it later in the day. But the thing is, like when I go to work and I have a workout prior to going to work, I feel great. Like anything that would typically bother me if I hadn't worked out doesn't bother me at all.
Well, you've accomplished something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel accomplished.
I mean, you have a win for the day.
Already.
And everybody around you, they just woke up, they drank their coffee and came to work.
Rushed their kids to the school bus,
Yeah.
I will say that David Goggins is kind of the one that set that mindset for me too, was we're not going to look at our alarm and hit snooze, right? Because you failed. You've already failed. So I've started, well, I used to set my alarm every 15 minutes until I would get up. And now I'm like, no, David Goggins says it's 4:30. You're getting up, Drew. You're not going to fail already. So get up. And I use that too, because I think it's important to not have a fail in the beginning of the day. You need to have an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Because it sets your day right.
It really does, because and that's something I realized, like the days I don't wake up and I just have to get in the shower and get ready and go to work. Yeah. I feel like crap. Like I feel like a failure. You feel like you didn't have a win for the day.
Well, and you don't have that adrenaline, like endorphin release, right? So it's like, endorphins are free, guys. They're free.
Well, and there's something to doing something difficult in the morning. You know, like I wake up at 3:45 every morning.
Okay.
And so if I come down to the elliptical and I get on and I don't want to do it, I'm tired. But I force myself to do it anyways.
Yeah.
10 minutes in, I'm like, oh, I feel great. I'm glad I did this, but it's hard. It's still hard, but I'm so happy I did it.
But that's how I feel about running too.
Running's the same way too.
Yeah, it's never my thing, but then I'll get a run in and it's like, okay, that was awesome.
I stepped out
do that a little bit more often.
Yesterday morning. I stepped out and I didn't realize it was raining. And so if I had known it was raining, I probably would have chose to go down and do the elliptical instead.
Sure. And
so I got all my gear on, I'm ready, and I step outside. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And I was like, maybe I should just go do the elliptical. And I'm like, no, David Goggins would run in the rain.
100%.
And so I just went and ran, and it was amazing. It felt great. So happy I did it.
Yeah, of course you do. Well, and especially when you have those even harder situations with the weather, it puts a little extra pressure on you. So
it really
not only
does.
did you not want to do it, but now the weather's not good.
Exactly.
So you got 2 for 1 accomplishments there. That's 2 birds, 1 stone.
It makes you feel even better. And I did that today too. I ran in the rain again. It was fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I enjoy it.
I was actually making fun of the people that were running in the rain on the way here. I'm like, man, you got to be MSU cross country because there's no way you'd be doing that without that.
Oh, that's funny.
But that's dedication at its finest right there.
Yeah.
So you won't catch me running in the rain unless it's running from my car to the building.
Yeah, I think there's something to doing hard things, but then having other elements that make it harder. Because it's hard to run in the morning, but you kind of get accustomed to it.
Right.
And then if something were to come up, like let's say it's snowing or it's raining or it's really windy and you don't want to go out, or it's just really cold, and you're like, I think I could just go do the elliptical, or I could do the bike or whatever. But I think having those elements every now and then, it helps it. It makes it easier. So it rained yesterday. I ran in the rain. I'll be fine today.
Well, and I'm sure at some point you kind of feel like if you don't get that done, you've missed out. Because I know that I make it a priority. And if it's like, okay, this is my habit, right? I'm in the habit of getting up and going to the gym. Somebody's like, I need your help at 9 a.m. You're like, well, then I got to move my workout up till, 4 or 5 in the morning so I can get that all done, come back, get ready, and then do that, because I'm not going to miss it.
Right.
You can change my schedule, but the gym session is still happening.
I'll just fit it in before.
Yeah, I'll get up earlier.
That's actually a really important thing for discipline is finding ways to adapt your schedule to the daily things that just happen.
Yeah.
Like if you have a routine where you work out at 9 o'clock every morning, and then something comes up, most people would just be like, well, I guess I'll work out tomorrow. And I'm guilty of it. I do it too.
Right.
It's so easy to do.
100%.
But if you have that mindset of like, no, I'm going to get it in no matter what, and so you just decide that you're going to wake up earlier to get it in, like that's dedication.
Well, and I will say that at some point, some people realize that this is me and this is what I'm going to do. So now they're like, so Drew, when are you going to be at the gym so that we can do this? But no, with real estate too, my schedule changes a lot. It fluctuates. And a lot of times my clients, they have 9 to 5 jobs. People that work full time are the ones that can buy houses. So after 5 for me are my busy hours. That's for me, it's important to get my workout in the morning so that I can be available in the afternoon or later in the day. But when a house is going up for sale in this market, as you know, sometimes you got to get in right away.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid to adjust my schedule, but I can guarantee you that I will not miss my workout that day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that mentality. Yeah, and that's super motivating for me because like I like I said, I'm guilty of like, oh, I guess I can't because I'm a super busy person.
Yeah.
I work full time and then I have a business and then
Kids and
a wife and a house and like all this other stuff. So I'm always busy doing something. But I'm guilty of like, oh, well, I have an appointment tomorrow. I guess I'm not going to get my lift in after work, so I'll just push it till tomorrow. Like I'm super guilty of this.
Yes.
And so like hearing that is like, wow, maybe I should just wake up earlier.
Well, that was the thing for me too for setting a goal, because when I set that goal, it's like, okay, so now you are, as much as this show is for me and I'm in competition with myself, I'm getting judged against other women that are going to be up there. But I want to know at the end of the day that I've done everything possible, that I left nothing on the table whatsoever in order for me to be in the best position to take home a pro card, to win, to be the one that says, you know, you are the overall winner. When I'm in that mood of, oh, hey, I'm going to push this off and cancel this, I'm like, so are you going to be okay with second place? Are you going to be okay with third place, Drew? How are you going to feel? And that's when I'm like, no, I'm not going to be okay with it. I wouldn't be okay with it. At the end of the day, of course, it's probably going to be a realistic thing. I don't expect to finish first at everything I do, but that's the mindset that you have to have.
You train like you're going to be first.
Exactly. That's the training that I do. Mindset is first, give it your all, leave nothing on the table. And if I leave one day where I missed a training session, guess what? You left that on the table. It's for somebody else to come up and grab and take.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I see it. They're going to be doing 2 times better than me, not just 1 time better than me, because I left it on the table.
That's such an important mindset to have. So many people lack that.
Well, when you hit rock bottom, you're just like, I'm done, man.
Well, and it's a thing with comfort too. People seek comfort just naturally. Everybody wants
when
to
growth
be
stops.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to be comfortable. Everybody doesn't want to push themselves to that next level. But to have that mindset where someone's going to take food from you is important.
It is. That's the way you have to see it.
Yeah.
Because it is, I mean, it's a world of survival of the fittest. I hate to say it, but it is. And if you leave it on the table, somebody's going to come up and take it. Whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, competition, you name it. Somebody else is going to be thankful for that opportunity if you're going to leave it up there.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Thanks.
So you also do real estate.
I do.
When did you start doing that?
So I started working for the Top Flight Financial Mortgage Company in 2012, I want to say. I got into mortgages, and then I went to work for an appraisal company. And then I went to work for a real estate company. I was 2 years at the appraisal office, a year at the mortgage company. And then I started working for Remax, McIntyre and Cowan out of Frandor. And they had like 9 or 10 buyer's agents. I was doing initial QC, now I can't even think of it. Anyways, I was talking to the clients and I was spreading out leads with the agents, and I was seeing how much these agents were bringing back on their paychecks. And I'm like, I got the wrong job here, man. This is not right. So I decided that I wanted to study and get my license for real estate. So in 2017, I made it a goal, and I was blessed and highly favored. So I went out and I passed my test the first time, and I've been licensed since 2017. And then this year I've made it a goal to get my broker's license, which I probably should have done like 2 years ago. And then also I'm going to try and get a dual license and get my license in Florida too.
Wow.
So many people in Michigan buy houses in Florida, and it's such a reciprocal state that I would miss out on clients that are, down there buying houses too. So definitely want to get my license in Florida. Yeah,
that's awesome. So we were talking a little bit about the market and everything prior to the podcast, but what has it been like the last couple of years? I mean, I know there for like right after COVID and during COVID, people were buying houses like crazy. The interest rates were lower, and there was, I think there was a shortage of houses, right?
There was a large shortage of houses. We were seeing, I think it was, anywhere from 11 to 15 houses coming out on a daily basis for new listings. And previous to that, since like 2017, we would see 40 to 60.
Whoa.
Right. So it was a major shortage of inventory.
And it was like that everywhere. right?
Everywhere, yes, but specifically in the greater Lansing area, it was difficult. I mean, I think some other states were even more severe than us. But you could have bought a house like 3 years ago, done nothing to it, and seen a 15 to 20% increase in value just by turning around and selling it, literally doing nothing to it.
I know people that did that.
Yeah. So the housing market spiked. Interest rates were low. It drove prices up. I was going around with buyers last year writing offers $30,000 to $40,000 above listing price, giving 60 days occupancy, waiving home inspections, and guaranteeing appraisals, and we weren't getting offers accepted.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then you have to go back to your buyer and explain to them that they took 4th or 5th place.
Wow.
And it was difficult. I think we all struggled. It was hard.
So is it making it difficult to make money now?
It has made it difficult to make money. We're commission based, right? So if we don't have inventory, we don't have sales.
Right.
And the average person in real estate lasts 3 years and then they're out.
Well, that's something that I guess I want to ask you, because I know so many people that are realtors or that had recently became realtors, and it seems like it's almost like the go-to thing now that people want to do. Like it's popular.
It's pretty easy to obtain your license, right? So it's a 40-hour class and one test.
Okay.
So it's not like, some of these hairdressers, I think that they have to do like 1,800 hours. I know appraisers have like thousands of hours that they have to do as apprenticeships. For real estate, you do 40 hours of classes and you take a state exam and you can be licensed and sell real estate. You could do it in a week and be a licensed realtor within a week and go sell a house.
Wow.
But I will tell you that they don't teach you how to write contracts. They don't teach you any negotiation. It's more law and definition.
Interesting.
For the testing, yeah.
So the standards are pretty low.
I would say that the standards are one of the lowest for a state license.
So has there been a huge influx in realtors joining the market?
It varies, and I can't say with the exact number that we have on our board right now because I don't know. But like I said, that transition comes in and out, right? They get in, they get their license, they realize how hard it is, how many dues they have, how many fees they have, that your broker is going to take a certain percentage, and they're like, oh, it doesn't seem as good as it looks.
Well, I mean, just like anything, it's not easy.
Right. And you have to fight. You have to get your sphere of influence and find people that are connected to you, connected to the community, and then go based off referrals. You know, you just need to get your good name out there, do good business, be in it for the right reasons, not for the money.
Yeah.
It's for the clients. That's why you're there.
Right.
Which is a huge, important stressor. I think that some people are just in it for the money. I've seen a lot of people buy houses that should have been warned about things. And it's like, I feel so bad for you. How can we help you,
Right.
It's just making sure that people are in solid homes with good foundations and good structures. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's so important. That's the number one thing when you buy a house. You want to make sure that it's not going to fall over or cave into the ground or
good investment too, right? You need some equity too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that's very difficult right now for anybody to have equity in their home.
Yes, I mean
that just recently bought
within the last year or two, right? They're going to struggle, and they're going to not only that, but not be paying down on their principal for their mortgage for a long time.
Right.
You don't touch that principal for a while because you're paying on interest still.
Right. So your goal is to be a broker and to be dual licensed.
Yes.
What's next after that? I mean, you're obviously a goal setting person.
I try. My biggest goal is to spread the word of God. So as many people that I can come in contact with, whether it be fitness, gym, real estate. My parents own a business. I help a lot out with my parents' tree business too.
What's the name of their business?
Discount Trees out in Mason.
Oh,
they are,
okay.
Yeah, full landscaping company.
I used to work for Right Tree Service, and we dumped wood chips.
Oh yeah,
there.
in our back. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks for all those wood chips. They help us. And then I have to go shovel them out in neighbors' yards.
That's a good workout, by the way.
Oh, it is. Well, that's how like this summer I trained really hard. My mom had me planting all the bald and burlap trees. I'm digging like 5 to 10 holes a day, and I'm
gosh.
oh, they're so hard. Yeah, and when you have dry ground, it's hard. So it was the best shape of my life, though. I came back and looked at my shoulders like, man, we need to do more shoveling out here. So goal setting, it's just, I want to spread the word of God, really. I mean, I don't really have any other agenda other than...
How do you plan on doing that?
Letting people know my journey and my testimony. I come in contact with people every day, and I'm like smiling, and they're like, I love your energy. And it's like, this is possible because of him, not because of me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to express.
Do you think that you could ever be like a life coach? Have you ever thought about that?
I have not thought about that, to be honest. There's a lot of people that have told me, oh, you're so great at motivational speaking. You're encouraging. My dad is that way a lot. Like my dad has instilled so many positive thoughts and just mindsets and phrases and sayings that we went through like childhood. And it was like, I can accomplish anything. My dad used to say, like, anything a guy can do, Drew, you can do 3 times better. And it's like, okay, I started believing it. As a kid, you believe it. You get brainwashed, I would say. And I got brainwashed into believing that I could achieve anything. So being able to spread that and kind of, I would say, share my dad's good aspects and his good role modeling would be awesome. And I do believe that there's a potential for that, but I have not sought it.
That limiting belief in yourself is such a crippling thing. So many people struggle. And I hear so many people so many people that I love and care about, they're like, oh, I can't do that. Or like, you're awesome for doing that. Like, I couldn't do that. I'm like, you could totally do it.
Right.
Just believe in yourself. Just do it.
Believing in yourself is 90% of the battle.
That is, 90%. You're right. Like, I have a friend, he just bought a smoker the other day.
Okay.
And he's super critical of himself. He's like, I'm trying to figure out how I need to cut this brisket, so that, this is my first time ever doing it. And yesterday he's like, I think I messed up the brisket. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I cut it wrong, I'm pretty sure, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you haven't even thrown it on the smoker yet. Like, how did you mess it up? And then he texts me this morning, and he's like, dude,
best brisket.
He's like, this brisket is amazing. And I'm like, see, there you go. Like, that's that limiting belief thing. Like, you believed before you even started that you weren't going to succeed. Like, you thought you were a failure.
So it's funny you say that, because my trainer today, he's talking to me and he's like, yeah, Drew, so like, have you picked a show yet? And I was like, no. It's like, have you picked a show yet? And I was like, no. It's like, man, you set all these goals, you're so driven, you go out and then you just keep pushing off the show. And I'm like, all right, I get it. I'll pick a show. So, that limiting belief, I mean, I'm this close, right? I look so great. So many people tell me I look fabulous. And then there's these little voices in the back of your head, just like everybody has. And it's like, get out of here. I'm done with you. So I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress, man. We are healing, not healed. Right.
I mean, it's a journey, right?
It is.
It's not a process where you just, you get there and you're done.
Right.
You're always chasing that. You're always trying to heal and get better. Because like, you're better today than you were yesterday, but it's always going to be, every day is going to be a new battle. So.
Well, and you get good at one thing, or you fix that one thing, and then, you look back at your to-do list and there's 20 more on the list.
Oh, yeah.
So it is always going to be a work in progress. There's no doubt about that.
But that is progress.
Absolutely.
When you...
Good point.
That is progress. When you have more things on your plate and you're like, okay, well, I guess I need to like do this, but yesterday you accomplished this and this and this.
Right.
It's progress.
Well, and even with bad situations too, I look at things like, oh, this didn't go my way, or this... I had a simple, small knee injury, just was playing volleyball, and I don't know what I did to my knee exactly. I didn't get any medical diagnosis, but I tweaked it. It didn't feel good for about 2 to 3 weeks. But you know what? I worked hard on my upper body for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
My upper body needed it. And it was like, God is telling you that, like, slow down. This needs some work here, so we're going to take this away from you so that we can add on to this. And I was struggling at first with that, but it was like, no, Drew, there's a blessing behind this. There is something good that's going to come of it. Your upper body's going to get more symmetrical with your lower body. And so it's about mindset too. It's about finding the positives through the negatives.
Yeah. I actually follow this guy. His name's Nick Kumalatzos or something like that.
Okay.
I met him last year. He's like this online person, but he's like an ex-military guy. Anyways, he was saying on his Facebook feed, somebody had said something about like, oh, well, I'm injured, so I can't train. And he's like, what's injured? And they're like, well, my knee. And he's like, work your upper body,
modifications,
work your abs. Like you could do you can still do things. Don't stop.
Exactly. Well, and a lot of my exercises went from standing to seated, right? It's like, let's just get off the knee. Let's give it a little bit of break here. But when you're standing, you're using a lot more of your core, right? When you're seated, you're going to be targeting specific muscles a little bit more.
Right.
So I started to see major gains just from staying seated and just working hard on the delts. It's like, okay, I think God was telling me I should have done this like months ago. Go out and injure your other knee.
Oh, that's funny. Is there anything else you want to like talk about? I think you honestly should do a podcast.
Well, I appreciate that, but
You probably don't have time.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. I've got a couple goals we got to accomplish here first, but I'll put it on the goal list. How about that?
I think, I mean, you have like a desire to want to help people. And I think that like your story, I mean, obviously there's more to your story that you haven't told on the podcast.
Right, well, and I won't cry. So that's why we're avoiding some of those things.
But I think that a lot of people could benefit from listening to you talk about your journey and listening to you talk about some of the goals you've set and how you've accomplished them and what you're currently still doing.
Well, and that's really what I want.
You obviously want to help people.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, that's how you give back to people. That's what God wants, right? Is to help others. We're here to fight the battle that we're fighting on this earth until we get to eternity where we can all just have no worries, no stress, and live happily ever after. But together we need to help each other while we're here.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why everybody's here, right?
Yes, 100%. Some people stray, right? You got to go find that one lamb or sheep, but, you know, it's worth it. The 99 will stay here for that one. We have to go find that one. Got to go grab them.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome back anytime. Actually, I want to have you back either before your competition. I don't know. It might be too much prior.
It'll be fine. It will be good for me.
Okay. Yeah. It'd be awesome to have you on, and then maybe even after.
Yeah, both would be great.
Yeah.
And I'll come in here and smile, whether I got first, second, third, or fifth.
Wearing your medals or holding your card or whatever.
Whatever it is. Maybe my $1,500 check.
That would be sweet.
That would be awesome.
That would be sweet.
Well, and it would go to charity for a good donation. So,
what charity are you going to pick?
You know, probably abused women.
Okay.
It would be a good one.
Is that something that?
Home.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of women out there that need it, and mental health is a big issue too. So.
More than ever.
Yes, obviously we've seen it close to home here with the whole incident.
MSU.
It's terrible. It's sad, and we need more mental health in this country. So I need help towards that, and then women and children would be probably my two go-tos.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the whole mental health thing. It's like I don't know what can be done because obviously we're in a crisis, right? Like, and something's happening in our culture where it's like. It's exponential. Like it's grown so strong, like within the last couple of years.
Sure.
And
with COVID, even worse.
And COVID just made everything worse.
Yeah.
And so, like, what can be done? Because, like, I know of somebody that was trying to get therapy, and they have good insurance, and they were like, "I need to see a therapist like today. I'm having this mental like crisis. I'm feeling like I might be suicidal, but they weren't going to do anything." And they told the insurance company this, and the insurance company's like, I'll call you back. I'll try to find a therapist that would be willing to take your insurance and blah, blah, blah. Well, they didn't call back.
Of course not.
They never called back.
Right.
And it's like, why isn't that a priority? Somebody said that they're in this crisis. Like,
it should be treated just as a bleeding person on the side of the street.
Yeah.
It really should, because mental health is a bigger issue than some physical health.
Absolutely. I mean, like, and what do you do about that?
You know, like you said, insurances need to be more involved. We need a higher education on it. We need to see signs of it earlier on. And it starts early on. I do feel like that too. But it also, I mean, I hate to say it, but it goes back to rearing your life around God and what is good for you and knowing that there aren't things out here that are judging you. Because I do feel like a lot of mental health issues come from judgment, shame, guilt, past experiences. And those things can all be forgiven and wiped clean.
I mean, like, even if you're not religious, you need purpose in life.
Sure.
And that's something that, like, I've struggled with prior to doing the podcast, is that, like, I struggled with purpose. I struggled with finding, like, what is my path in life? Like, I know I want to help people, but how can I, like, use my story to help somebody? And so I would just chase these dumb things. Like, it would be like, I ran a 50-mile ultra, so I'd put all my focus into this ultra run, or it's just like these madness things. I did kettlebell competitions, and just trained for these random things.
Right.
I had no goal, no specific goal in mind, and I had no purpose. Essentially, I felt like I had no purpose, and I felt like it was creating like this mental health problem for myself.
Right.
And once I started doing the podcast and found out like my story helped other people, and I found out that like people coming onto the podcast sharing their personal stories and seeing the feedback from that, and how like them sharing their story helps people. Like you sharing your story on here probably makes you feel good.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
And I've had so many people tell me like I'm not, I'm not a professional like podcaster. I'm not that
You're doing awesome.
I'm not that
This is
great at it. But the thing is like just giving people that experience, giving people that ability to come on and share their story. It's super therapeutic for me. It makes me feel like I have a purpose.
You do.
And I think a lot of people lack that purpose. I think a lot of people don't know what their path in life is. And so then that's kind of why we're in a mental health crisis, especially with like social media and seeing how other people have better lives than other people.
Comparison, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Competing with the Joneses next door.
Yeah, I mean, and somebody might look at you and be like, "Wow, she's so fit. Like, I wish I could be like her." But they're not willing to find that path in life. They're just jealous.
Well, and sometimes people don't even see that I came from 200 pounds, right? I mean,
Right.
they're looking at the person that I am today, but they didn't see the pastor 2 years ago who was on her knees crying, asking God to help her because she was suicidal. That's who I want people to know. That person, even though I was ashamed of her, today I'm proud of her because I hit that spot and I bounced right back up. But also going back to mental health and helping other people, when I was at my lowest, I would find so much pride and so much purpose in helping somebody else do something. They're like, oh, this is going wrong in my life. Well, and I do understand that it was taking the focus off of me so I could focus on somebody else. I get that now that I've had therapy. But at the time, it made me feel really good to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Because there was purpose in that. I knew that I went home at the end of the day and that couldn't have been accomplished if I didn't step in and help that person.
Right.
So finding purpose, it comes in so many different forms, but I will say that there's nothing better than helping somebody else. You get so much gratitude and just purpose out of helping.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sense of community and everybody needs that community.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Huge. Community is everything.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to be a part of a tribe.
100%. Well, and they say, you can't raise a baby without a community.
Right,
So,
exactly.
And it's the truth. I see these moms out here and I'm like, man, I don't know how you do it. But then I'm there trying to help too. So, it's just we've all got to tie together, focus on the goals of just creating a good, solid, strong community that is there to help each other and support each other, even in our hard times. Everybody's going to have hard times. We're going to have trials. We're going to have tribulations, but those are going to be part of your testimony, which is then going to launch you to a whole new level.
Yeah. Yeah. And people will see that and people will get motivated and inspired by it. And hopefully they change their life.
Yeah. And call me. I'll help you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, Drew, thanks for doing this.
Yes.
This
Thank
was
you
a
for
lot
your
of
time,
fun.
David. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And you'll be back sometime soon.
Hopefully soon.
You,
I'll set that goal.